Hello, and welcome back to Ant's Gaming Suite. This is your host, Anthony, back with another new world video here today. I hope you guys have been enjoying the content that I've been releasing out, and hopefully this has been helping you guys in your new world journey. One of the things that get asked a lot around with different MMOs or new MMO that hits the gaming market is how do you level up so fast? And it makes a total sense because MMOs require players to grind for 100 hours in order to reach a max level. For example, WoW, Avalon, Black Desert, and whatnot. And that is actually with the case of Amazon's latest MMO title, New World. Although some of you might have already come up with a bunch of tricks on your own in closed beta, but many of them are not very applicable in the final release. Luckily, there's still a lot you can do to maximize your XP intake in the game, and today's video is all about sharing with you some incredible and useful tips that I have experienced and I've used myself. But before we start the video, make sure you hit that subscribe button for more amazing MMO contents like this. With that said, let's get started. Unlike many other MMOs, New World has tried to incorporate more of a real life experience, and there is a long list of things that you can do to earn XP in the game. However, keep in mind there's no shortcut to becoming the best player in the game. The more you try things out, the better you get at the game. Doesn't matter if the XP you get is low or not. At least you know what the content is out there and which areas you should avoid and which areas you should go to. Okay, I want to go with the first thing here. So tip number one is crafting, okay? For those of you who don't know, you should be technically crafting along the way as you level in your journey here. One, because you can, increase your weaponsmithing, arcana, or logging down the track that you need materials as well. But keep in mind, these material when you craft or when you mine, will give you experience as well. That is tip number one. Tip number two here is town missions. One of the things that most of all beta players got stuck in order to hit the max level were town missions. Unfortunately, the final release has nerfed down the XP that you gain by completing the town missions, but they will still offer one of the quickest and easiest way for XPs for you to gain. You can simply find these town missions by looking at the town project board in your own town, and you will find a ton of easy tasks. So you go to your little town here, and you always want to look for town project boards. Pretty simple. Make sure to start with one of those that are offering really high experience here. And try to get the ones that are more efficient in terms of resources, and you can get to the next one as soon as possible. So we're going to quickly take a look at town for missions. One of my favorite is using the weaponsmith here. Forge can deliver bruising steel. So sometimes you're going to need iron ore, you're going to need fiber, you're going to need coarse leather. It just really depends on what your weaponsmithing is. Sometimes they do ask you steel, and they can offer anywhere between 300 to 3000 XP. So what you want to think about is, okay, is this resource was it worth me wasting these resources in order to get 300 XP or 2000 XP? So this is the one of the easiest way. And usually with alchemist needs, it's something I tend to skip just because the potions are very expensive. You don't need to do any exploring. It's very time consuming. Hunting, you also really want to avoid it as well because they just take up a whole bunch of time slot of their own time here. Fishing every now and then, it should be okay here if you have the fish already. There is a quest where it gives you firm fish or fillet fish here. You can use that as well, but please be advised that firm fish or fillet fish can be costly on the market here, just because it's very difficult to get and you do have to salvage them. So if you do get a quest that gives you say 10, just look at the ratio of XP and the cost of it. Is it worth it? Is it not worth it? If not, just simply delete it and just pretty much wait for the next set. So how long does the next set take? It's every 30 minutes here. Every 30 minutes you want to click, you want to accept the quest, and you also want to cancel the quest in order for it to get a new refresh. If anything like this, 5-week mana potion, 2 XP, definitely not worth it. So if anything with armor and weaponsmithing, this is the best way to go here, just because you can both level them into crafting your ability. Water is pretty darn simple, and the cooking stuff you simply want to avoid as well. Believe me though, most of these town quests are so easy. If you're good at moving around fast, you'll probably have no problem finishing them and earning some quick XP. And do keep in mind that one of the things that I do typically do is when I jump into a settlement, I finish the town project, I jump into the next one, but it will use a lot of Azos, so do keep that in mind as well. But if there isn't any more difficulties between your factions, Azov should be fairly cheap and you can farm them in a very quick manner. Okay. Tip number 3 here, complete main quests. Alright, I know this is a given, but main quests really are one of the best ways to rack up huge XP points because they are more difficult to finish up and they take a while to complete as the difficulty level increases. However, you don't have to just blindly get into the main quest just because you can here. There are a few things you need to keep in mind. First, check out the recommended level of what the quest is. So at the moment, we're looking at Saboteur here. So I've got Eden Grove at level 55. I'm very very behind in my main quest here, just because I already hit 60 and I don't really want to waste any more XP, I guess, until the next level cap reaches. Okay, so moving on to what I was saying. First, check out the recommended level. If you exceed the recommended level of the quest or even get close to it, go right ahead and try to finish it as fast as you can. If you need help from a friend, definitely reach out to your faction member or one of your friends that can help you out. But if you fail to reach the recommended level of the quest and you still want to do that, you know, it'd probably be a waste of time because you're going to be consistently dying. Instead, what you should be focusing on is going to different side quests here. I've got a whole bunch of side quests. You got expeditions that you can run here that can give you a fairly good chunk of XP and whatnot. So that's the fourth thing, completing main quest. The next thing is faction quests. Okay, main faction quests might offer the largest chunk of XP when you complete them, but sometimes the requirements are just out of the reach here. So we just quickly run into a PvP situation, not a PvP situation, but a faction situation here. So it is one of the next best things for you to do besides from the main quest and the town hall. Most of these are fairly simple tasks to complete, and in no time you can give you a huge amount of XP as well. On top of that, you do also get to play the first 3 of them for double XP bonus, so that is a given here, which is pretty darn awesome here. You will get a total around, I guess, 2.4k experience, but you also get these tokens where you can buy rewards as well, so in hand, it kind of works out. So you need to make sure to pick the ones with the highest XP rewards to go first. However, keep in mind, if you're using the PvP option, you do get a 10% increment as well. Not to mention that you also have the faction or FTP as well, which is your territory, I guess, outstanding influences. You do get a bonus there. And while there are at the topic of settlements, the one things that you can do to boost your XP points is that whatever you feel like taking a break from the game, make sure to leave your character in a settlement to rest before exiting the game. And when you come back after a while, you will be able to see a well-rested XP bonus, which grants you extra XP for every task that you complete. So that is something to keep in mind of, okay? I don't think a lot of people are very well aware of that one, but that is a tip from me. Okay, moving on to as well, work out your role early on. If you don't really know, Newell lets you perform one of the 3 traditional roles: your tank, your DPS, and healer, depending on your party attributes. In order to rack up the most XP in the long term, you need to work out what role you're going to play early on, because sometimes when you're playing as a DPS, for example myself, as a mage, it does come very difficult to, I guess, tackle the mobs that are slightly a little bit higher than yourself. Alright, moving on, turn on PvP, alright? A lot of people don't really turn on PvP, that's okay, I'm not judging there. Whether you want to play PvE or PvE, that is alright. I know that you don't want to get into hectic fights and endless deaths, but believe me, PvP isn't half as bad as many people claim to be. Of course, there are certain risks that you have to look at. The benefits though, the pros really just outweigh the cons here. Firstly, you get around 10% XP bonus when you're in PvP enable, which makes everything more exciting and rewarding. Secondly, the faction mission that you complete rewards you with the triple XP, which is a huge XP amount. And lastly, if you're good at combat, you can get some crazy XP bonus by simply killing your enemies. Now, the downside to PvP is that you have to be on the run all the time, and you will die over and over again. But just ask yourself this: what do you have to lose anyway? You don't lose your weapons, you don't lose your stuff in your inventory. If you have a campfire, you can spawn there, and what? Yeah, so that's pretty much PvP here. But if you don't want to stick to PvP, PvE as well is perfectly fine. That is in the same situation that I am in. I simply just did PvE. I didn't really, turn on PvP until the last couple of levels. Anyway, I hope this video helped you out. With that, we have reached the end of our video. I hope these tips and tricks will help you out in a ton at climbing the ranks faster in the game, but don't fall for the peer pressure. You don't have to be level 50 to live the game to its best. Just take things at your own pace and live the moment. The levels will follow eventually, and that's it for this video. I hope I'll see you guys in the next one.